Well, I am Karrie Brazaski, as you said, and I am a burnout recovery specialist. So I own Redwood Executive Coaching, where we help high performance entrepreneurs, business women, and men. But I know your group is mostly women. And so what we do is help them get out of burnout. And if they aren't actually there or they've experienced burnout in the past, making sure that they don't slide back in. And so really just giving them the tools and the tips that they need so that they can really enjoy their life. Because you know how we just let stress and burnout kind of creep in. And when we don't address it, it really can be detrimental to our health, to our careers. And so I am on a mission so that no one gets to the point of being so burnt out and frustrated that they throw in the towel and they're like, I'm not doing this anymore. Because unfortunately, I let that happen. I'm a nurse of 28 years and I was a hospital executive for 15, and I didn't take care of myself. And I let the job and stress really take over my health, really plummet my health. And so now I tell people the other side of burnout is pretty amazing. So it's a hard road when you try to do it yourself. And I've done a lot of good things, a lot of things I wouldn't recommend. But there's some tips and tools that you can do so you can feel better really fast.
That's wonderful. And I think that, one of the things that we talk about is the holistic person. So, the holistic healing. So, for me, my background in health as well, but it's health education.
Yeah.
It's actually, today I was just talking to a student that she said, well, my mom is a nurse, and so she knows everything about nutrition and blah, blah, blah. And I was like,
No, she does not. We are not taught that.
yeah, to be healthy. Some of the most unhealthy people I know are doctors and nurses and, PAs and whatever, because you have these awful hours. I have a client right now. She's got 7 days in a row of 12-hour shifts, and she's 67 years old. And I'm thinking, I couldn't do that now.
Yeah.
I mean, that's quick reason to have burnout. I'm seeing some people that say, Judy said she can't see you. I don't know why can other people not see Karrie, because I see her next to me. So let me know if you're having an issue with sound or anything else. Let me, because I see everything fine, but let me know if you don't on your end. So when you're talking about this, or you're talking about your interpersonal relationships, burnout is real. It definitely is. So I'm so excited to hear some of the tips that you would like to share with us on how to really keep that in check.
Yeah. And the thing is that burnout doesn't just affect you, it affects your relationships, it affects your job. I've talked to people, luckily, I am blessed to be married to what I call a saint, that he survived our burnout dwindle because it was ugly. And I felt like a failure. I didn't feel like I was the wife I wanted to be, the mom that I wanted to be. And so just being able to, I'll tell you the number one thing, and it's all up here. It's realizing that you are a priority, which is probably what you tell all of your clients. You have got to make time for you and stop feeling guilty for taking care of you. Because if you don't take care of you, nobody gets you. If you're, I work with people who they're the owner of their companies. And it's like, if you burn out and you can't do this, what kind of income do you have? If you get to the point where you're so burnt out and you can't go to your job, or you're, afraid you're going to lose your job because what used to take you 10 minutes now takes you 2 hours, that's a problem. And so it's rampant. 75% of the office visits to doctors is because of stress. The top 6 killers in the US, stress attributes to them. So it behooves us all to not only just make sure that we don't burn out, but to really take care of ourselves and not let stress. I say don't let stress steal your joy, because life is too short and you need to enjoy it, but you have to be able to take care of you so that you can do that. So I would say the number one thing that you could do to take care of you is actually schedule time. And most people, I always get the biggest obstacle, I just don't have time. I don't have time to do it. I got to do the kids. I got to do this. I got to do that. Well, it only takes about 20 minutes a day. 20 minutes for you to be a priority, I would think, I think there's 1,440 minutes in a day. I think you're worth 15 or 20 of them. I mean, really, when you think about, when you put it down like that, you're like, okay, well, why can't I make time for me? And it doesn't have to be these huge elaborate things. While I think, vacations and go to the spa and get a massage and, do a retreat in Costa Rica, those are fabulous things to help keep us, but you've got to be able to build your life to where you have those things that you love and that you can do each day, so that you're not always needing a vacation to get away from your life. You've got to kind of create your life to where it's not like I got to get away from it. So
I always I have the visual in my head as they're saying this, and this is what I share with clients too, is the pressure cooker. You have to let that pressure off. And it was one of the things that I realized growing up with my parents that I learned very well. Give my dad credit because he was definitely a good person to teach me this. Stress relievers, those coping mechanisms. When things get really difficult, I've been very good at being able to have that pressure being let off.
mm,
Almost sometimes, because it's like, for some of us, we're like, we have too many stress relievers, and all of a sudden, like, wait a minute, this is not where I want to be. This should have been really, so I should have said stop at like, whatever ago, but I've had good things. But most of the time that's not the issue. Most of the time is that we just get more and more and more and more stress, and we just keep building, 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 building up, and then all of a sudden it's
yeah.
whether it's health related or mental health, physical health, social health, spiritual health, whatever it is, we just like explode.
Yeah. Well, and those the people that we love and the people that are closest to us really get the brunt of it, because when you're reactive, and I always say for most people, you either have children or you've been around a small child. And moms, I mean, you've got little ones. We are like fanatical about making sure our kids eat and they sleep. Those are the two main things. And well, and then to be clean, not have wet pants and stuff like that. But, we make sure, because when they don't sleep, when they don't eat well, they're really crabby. Well, that's what happens to us when we're stressed. We don't eat well, we don't sleep well, and we're crabby. And so if nothing else, just don't be crabby. You've got to be able to manage your stress. And it can be little things. It can be in the moment, taking a deep breath. Like, I think the breath is so underrated. It's the one thing that you absolutely have total control in your body, that it'll function, it'll do whatever you need to do, but when you think about it, you can change it. And so just taking big deep breaths in and blowing it out as slow as you can and as long as you can takes us from this keyed up sympathetic nervous system, that fight and flight that we're always in, over into our parasympathetic nervous system, where we can just relax and rest and rejuvenate. And your body needs that so that it can replenish itself and overcome all of the different things that we actually put ourselves through each day. So we need to be able to just do that. And just that deep breath, the top of the hour, a couple times a day. I do it before I even get out of bed. I just sit at the edge of the bed, and I actually do what's called alternate nostril breathing. But when you do breath work, it really slows you down. And it doesn't take a whole lot to be able to do it.
And you can do it anywhere.
Yeah.
Like you said, you can do it in the car. You're waiting at a stoplight and you're like, all right, let's do some breath work, and then let's do some square breathing or whatever it is that you're doing
Yes.
at that point.
Yeah, square breathing, 4-7-8, alternate nostril. Alternate nostril, actually, I love, because most people don't think that they can do it. And so when you really start to just kind of focus on it, you actually can bring the breath in one nostril, out the other, and then back in. And at first people are like, I just breathe. I can't, but you can focus on it and actually have it, and you just breathe in and out on opposite nostrils. And it really does. And there's research to show that it actually helps.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that I tell people to do, if at all possible, and I was never a meditator. I couldn't do it. I couldn't shut my mind off. And I always felt like I was a failure. So here's a hint. There's no right or wrong way to do it. There is guided meditation that I find to be much more uh, feeling of success, because you don't feel, you feel, somebody's guiding you through it, and so it's not so difficult. But when you meditate, it actually improves the gray matter in your brain. And it's in the frontal, which is for our cognition. And so we're less reactive. And who doesn't want a bigger brain? I mean, come on, we're always telling our kids, we want these big brains. Well, it's the one thing that you can do. And there actually was research that came out, I want to say it was last month, that actually looked at meditators who had never meditated before. Because most of the studies are on people who have done this for 7 and 8 years, and they're, gurus at meditation. They found that in 6 weeks, there were positive results from people who had never meditated. They had recommended 40 minutes a day. Most people did around 27, but they found positive results with 15. So that's why I say 15 to 20 minutes, that's all it takes each day. And it's not like you got to do all of these. You just pick the things that work for you. Or today I'm going to breathe. I think breathing is one of those things you can do every day, but you can bring it in, meditate another day. The other one that is fabulous, which goes right along with what you're encouraging people to go to Costa Rica with you, is to get outside. Nature is an amazing de-stressor. And if you can't get outside, even looking at pictures. So I tell people to, on their desk, if you do desk work, have your screensaver that is nature. If you've gone on vacation and your favorite mountain or your favorite beach scene, have those on your desk. But when you look at them, here's again the deep breathing. Take a couple deep breaths in and remember being there. See if you can invoke as many senses as you can. And it really will help to calm you down and relax you so that you can go about your day. And then the other one that I would tell people, that I would share with your group, is don't multitask. It doesn't work. We think that, okay, I can do this, this, and this all at the same time, but our brain can't function like that. You might be able to do the things and get things done, but you're not going to be as productive or as creative as if you had actually stopped, took a break, and then did it, or did one activity and then the next. And so one of my biggest things that I tell people is take back your lunch. How many of us give our lunch away? We give it to our employers, we give it to our businesses, we give it to everybody but ourselves. So take back lunch. Sit for 15 or 20 minutes and actually eat your food. Enjoy it and chew your food. And you will be, I always tell people when they're like, well, I just don't really know if I'm really stressed or not. And I'm like, how quick can you eat a meal? If somebody can tell me they can eat a meal in 5 minutes, chances are you're a little stressed, because we weren't made to eat food that way, and I'm a nurse. I can eat a 5-course meal in probably 10 minutes standing and on the run, just because that's what we've had to do. But we need to teach ourselves to slow down so that you can process what your body's taking in, and that you can have that. But the big thing, again, it's you realizing that you matter and it's your time. So take your 30-minute lunch break, go outside, feel the wind in your hair, just change. They've done studies too on just being able to change that midday, where you can actually change your environment, that you're much more productive. And for any of you that have studied Montessori, that's what Montessori is all about. It's changing the way that the kids move around the room so they're constantly moving. And that movement helps with learning, which as adults translates to better productivity. So, we all want to be profitable and productive. So when we move and we change around throughout the day, it decreases our stress and we're less apt to be burnout.
And we need to take that break. We need to have, like I call it, celebrations, and the break. We need to have something to look forward to and take a break, and so that when we pamper ourselves and we take care of ourselves, we actually come back more productive.
Yes.
Leah said so many studies to prove nature makes you happier, healthier, and smarter. And and I so agree with you, because if you leave your job in the middle of the day, even for 10 minutes, and you go for a walk, you come back and it's like the day is different.
Yeah,
The,
yeah.
you wipe off some of the day and then start new when you go back in.
Yeah, there's actually there's so much research around nature that even urban planners and urban architects are trying to incorporate nature into new buildings and new complexes, because the rate of stress in our society, 80% of people say they're stressed out at work. 80%. That's a lot of people. And about 40% say they're burnout. Depends on the study, anywhere from 20 to 50, depending on the profession and everything. But that's a lot of people who are less than optimal of what's going on. And so you've got to be able to create that, I hate the word balance, but you've got to have some balance in your life so that it's not always one. You know, if you always had to eat chicken and rice every single day, you get pretty tired of it. Well, we kind of do the same thing in our day. We do the same thing over and over and over. And we wonder why we're like, oh, this just doesn't feel good anymore. You gotta change it up. Plus it helps rewire some of the processes in your brain when you can just change things up, get away, walk away, take a break. It really does make a difference.
We're less creative, and so I'm a big, I'm a big proponent of schedules, making sure you schedule in everything, and especially, with all the stuff that I do, I wear many different hats, like everything is scheduled. However, I also wanted to make sure everyone knows though too is that, like, and I schedule in my self-care, I schedule in my breaks and stuff like that, but I also make sure that if things don't go as scheduled, that's not the end of the world either,
Yeah.
because I've allowed myself and learned that it's going with the flow. Like, I like yoga, I follow yoga. And so it's one of those things where it's you go with the flow. You allow it to go. You can plan. You can have all these thoughts of what you want to do, which is great and the good. It gets things accomplished. But you also have to go with the flow. And I say this over and over again, where I used to get upset, like I was going to be here and I was going to do this. And, I had a little bit more control, is what I thought I had. Allowing to let go some of it, you actually kind of get more control, because once you see that, hey, I wasn't meant to be here or there yet. This happened and I can follow and see where that takes me. Allows you a lot more freedom while still achieving the things that you want to achieve. And if you are burnt out, you hate your job, everything is miserable, everything is
Mm-hmm.
miserable. But if yourself to take the time, breathe, go out there, literally smell the roses, and enjoy, get some of that vitamin D, and move around and talk to people. Stay away from the negative
Oh,
people,
they could
because
suck you dry.
some people leave, like, in teachers lounges or in the nurses lounges or whatever, and there's people that are all that negativity. You want to kind of just, that would be another great opportunity for you to say, hey, I'm going to avoid
I'm
that
going to go
and
outside.
go out for that little
Yeah.
walk outside, that air, be by yourself, come back, and then do what you need to do.
Yeah, it negativity is very contagious, but I also believe positivity can be contagious. And so surround yourself with those people, because that's what you want more of. Whatever you focus on is what grows. And so focus on the positive. And we talk a lot about gratitude. Gratitude is a huge de-stressor. When you start looking at the things in your life of, you know, this didn't happen to me, it happened for me, which is a hard concept for some people, because some people, especially like you guys have gone through hell and back. And so I'm sorry that didn't happen to you, but you're coming out the other side, and it didn't, it doesn't define your future. It may impact your soul and it may help create who you are, but it doesn't mean that it's going to dictate what you can or can't do. It's just that's what's happened. And so when you can surround yourself with people that are positive and uplifting, it's just so much more enjoyable. And I will share one last thing, that these are things that you can take them into your break rooms or whatever, and they are, oh no, it's not even going to do it, they're bubbles. Oh, these are like,
Mm-hmm.
There we
Oh,
go.
there we go.
So bubbles, who doesn't love bubbles? They're fun. And some people may think, well, that's pretty juvenile. Really, you're telling me? I'm like, I tell executives to take their bubbles to work. But what it does is it's pretty amazing. So bubbles, because you take a big breath in, and sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. That's the fun of bubbles. I got duds tonight. That's funny. But anyway, you have this longer exhalation. So it's forcing you to exhalate longer, which automatically puts you into parasympathetic. The other thing is your pursed lips increases pressure in your lungs. Most of us don't take big, deep breaths, and we kind of, walk around with our shoulders up in our ears. It causes you to just relax. And who doesn't love bubbles? It makes you smile. And so that smile, that laughter, it increases your blood flow. It increases oxygenation in your body. It's a win-win-win. It's an amazing thing. You can pick up these. I have bubbles everywhere. I love bubbles, and little kids think that you're just the coolest thing too. And you can be in a really stressful situation where you just wish somebody could, you know, turn it off and we could laugh about this. Well, you can blow some bubbles. So that's a bonus tip for that I try to share, and usually these are
I
really good.
I love anybody who's watching this. Go out and get yourself some bubbles because I would love to see like when you're in that stressful situation and feeling really overwhelmed. Be like, I'm going to take out my bubbles and just start blowing on the bubbles. I think would be awesome. I want to see more people doing that.
Yeah, and if you have a gymboree, those are the best bubbles. I don't know what they make those bubbles out of, but they last. And so you can have some fun around the office. I just always, my public service announcement, if you have tile, just be careful if you're blowing bubbles inside. But, just have fun with it. That we have to create more fun in our lives. That's why so many of us get burnout, is we get into the dredge of life instead of the fun of life.
Yeah, I so much agree because I think that for a lot of people, I remember being younger and thinking I had so much excitement and possibility. And then for a few years when I was stuck with the toxic relationships, I just kind of felt like, damn, this is, I guess, what life is. Like, this kind of sucks. And I remember other people around me saying the same thing, like, oh, you're an adult now. Adult being, sucks being an adult. And then, I'm going to be 42 in December, and I don't feel that way at all. I'm excited. I feel like I wake up in the morning and I'm thinking, ooh, what kind of fun things am I going to be doing today? And, we were put on this earth to play. This is our playground.
Yeah.
So we got to be treating this life like the playground that it is and the fun that it is and not the drudgery that we have come to learn that is life.
Yeah. We've got to play more, laugh more, and just have fun and stress less. It it's
Mm-hmm.
it, it's just it's what like you say, what we were meant to do. And if more of us focused on that gratitude and the joy of life instead of the drudgery of life. My son, he was like, I'm not sure I want to adult. That adulting thing doesn't look too fun. And then the other day he was like, okay, you and dad make it look pretty fun. I'm like, okay, then we're doing our job. This is supposed to be fun, but no, don't do it anytime soon. But yeah, it's have fun. Life is meant to be lived. And as I tell my clients, I don't want you just going through the motions. I want you to actually enjoy your life. Most of us, we've gotten to this point in our life. We're successful. We've built careers, and we should be reaping the rewards of it, not burning out from it.
Agreed. And there's a lot of people saying how much they love the bubble. So
Oh,
I have a
good.
feeling that the bubble manufacturers are going to be getting a little getting a boost. Like, oh, who do we think for
Yeah.
this?
And you can find them anywhere, at the market, the dollar store, the, dime store. I don't know. Do we still have dime stores? The drugstore, whatever.
Like, I know what you're talking about.
I'm sure you can get them on Amazon too.
Lazy now.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, what do I need? What do I have on? So this was wonderful and I love, because when you're a coach and you're doing, we do so much different things, but there's so much overlap. And when you and I started chatting about doing this, I was like, yeah, there's enough, there's so much great overlap that we could share with our clients. And I'm sure there are people right now that are like, I am in a job that I do not love. I'm looking to figure out how to deal with this burnout. I don't want to get there. So how can they follow you? What do you have out there for them to just kind of watch and see what you're doing and be a part of your world?
Well, I'm in the process of rebranding because we just changed our name to Redwood Executive Coaching. But I'm here on Facebook. Anybody is welcome to private message me, Karrie Brazaski, or you can come over to my business page, which is Redwood Executive Coaching. They're in the midst of changing. I don't know exactly when they'll actually make that change, but just reach out to me, private message. That's probably the easiest. I'm on Instagram at Karrie Brazaski. And I'm happy to offer any of your people a complimentary stress reset where we actually get on the phone and we talk about where are they at, what are the things that is sucking their joy or what is giving them joy, and then what is the next best step. Whether they work with me or somebody else, it's making sure that they have a plan to where they can incorporate some joy so that they don't burn out.